Hey, how's everybody doing? I thought I would try to explain something real quickly. This is a this what you're seeing here is a base texture for PBR. It is one picture that covers the entire piece of land. It's one image. It's 4K. You can go up to 8K if you'd like. 8K looks better than 4K. Um, but that is what the base color is. It basically is how they get all these different layers like this mud, this grass, this rock, pretty much to blend good without the hard edges. Because it's a picture. I mean, you can do anything with a picture. You can make it blend perfect. And if you make it your image for your map, then it's gonna look perfect. Only problem with that is, well, that's a 4K image, and that's a pretty big chunk of land. So if you get up close, I'll hide that grass for this time being. But I like that grass. That's a small island grass. The grass from Small Island. I use the Small Island assets for this. So as you can see, this looks pretty bad up close. It looks very similar to Google Maps if you get a Google map and drive on it. Because the truth is, you need a texture about damn 150,000 by 150,000 to be a piece of land that big and still be high detail. You ain't gonna do it. Trust me, I tried it with Blender GIFs. I downloaded like a 64,000 resolution image, and Beam just laughed at me. He said, "Dumbass, we ain't loading that here. You ain't gonna get to see that in here. Maybe in Blender." So it didn't work. Now the game only does up to 16K textures, but you can only do up to an 8K terrain block. If you want a bigger block than that, you got to make a model, which a lot of people do. They have good success with that. I don't like to make models that big. I'd never get it done. So we'll put the car here, and you'll see up close how this is going to look. Well, did I delete the damn car somehow? 'Cause I sure don't see it. Oh, I typed them damn letters in there. You're not going to see it. So move the camera. So, if you can see, damn it, I keep hitting the wrong keys. Pretty crappy texture. So how do you fix that? Well, it takes care of the blending problem. But how do you make it better? You have to add another texture layer, like a macro. A macro is the next texture layer that you see. Like you'll see this all the time. It basically colorizes the macro in detail. So you can't use a regular macro and detail texture. You got to use basically an image that has a high pass filter run over it, because it's too much to have two solid color things at one time. It multiplies. They multiply one another, and you basically would get these like really dark umber reddish colors, or black and red, that just, you can tell it's kind of blown up too much saturation and stuff. So I got in the level here. I got some other maps that already got that done to them, so I don't have to go make them or anything. Um, and you want to save this to your, when you find the folder you're going to be going to, you'll want to copy that to your clipboard. So you have to keep going back there every time, because this won't remember. Well, it'll remember if you've already filled it out, but when you're filling one out, every time you got to re-navigate to that damn spot. That gets old quick. It depends on how many of these you do, and it can get old really quickly. So let's see. One of these, I got a high pass filter. H for height, ambient occlusion, roughness. I know I got some. Got him are 2K and 1K. Here's some 4K. High pass. Iceland rocky ground. I don't like that one. But do you see what the high pass filter looks like? It's basically, yeah, you can run a high pass filter on any image in photo editors. Grass uncut. Well, that is grass there, but I like the rocks better. Albedo is the same thing as the color map, if you ever come across that. I got another folder of these things. That's the other folder. The other folder. These came from Unreal 5. Or the Quixel Bridge thing, because they got two different things on one color. Yeah, metallic and roughness share the same thing. Ah, man, come on. I know I got to have at least one or two others in here. I can get by with that. Those are all sand, though, and melting snow. I think we can probably pull it off. It's not a high pass filter, but it's damn close to what one would look like. So that's 4K. It's got to be, because the macro is calling for 4K. And all we got to put now is, well, normally we just put the other ambient occlusion in there. I want this to look good, so I'm gonna put the other ones in there too. So what I find easy is just to copy this and paste it into the other ones in the macros. That way you just click on it and it's already where it needs to be. See, you click on it, now you're where you need to be. You don't have to go hunting for that folder. So that is crack shell. So there's a normal map for it. And we'll scroll down to the roughness. Put the macro roughness in there. And then the ambient occlusion, which I actually have it. I should have an ambient occlusion for this, so get the proper thing in there. Yep, occlusion, and height. I don't think I have a height map. So what I normally do is just reuse the roughness or the ambient occlusion in there if I don't have one. Some places you download, you get them automatically. They come with the stuff. Others you don't. You can bake your own in Blender. That's how I basically made the height map to make this thing. But we're not getting into that. That's a little much more stuff to explain. The scale. What scale is that going to be? Let's just go with 64. Because you don't want that one image stretched out over this whole thing. It's not going to look good like that. So we'll do it like this. Now it did lighten it, as you can see, because, well, hell, it is pretty bright. Oh, the ambient occlusions are the, wait a minute, Yeah, that's off for some reason. Oh, I must have turned it off. How am I missing one here? Damn, I mean, I'm not on my A game today. There we go. Now it looks proper. I knew something was off with it. I just couldn't put my finger on it. This is where they blend, how close they blend to the camera. That's how far away they blend, and this is how close they blend, basically in with the base texture. So however far the macro goes, it's at the bottom in here. It tells the macro how far to draw, and then to stop drawing. You don't want it drawing forever, because you're going to start seeing the tiling of it. Macros tile. So you want to stop it fairly close to where it isn't obvious, and based on where it stops, you can have it slowly fade away, or you can have it abruptly stop. Basically, you got you got attenuation. I don't really mess with that much, but you got the each one of the categories. You got the macro strength, and you got for up close and for far away. See how that? Yeah. Yeah, I'll put 0 here, and you'll see what that does. It didn't do nothing, did it? Oh, I didn't hit enter. You see, it fades into it, and if you do it the other way around, it'll fade out. That's a good thing. That's obviously too much of a color, because it makes it easier to tell the difference and what it's doing. And I could probably illustrate the attenuation now by having that like that. I'll put a 1 there. I think that's for up close, and that one's for far away. Exactly what they do, I can't remember. I think it basically is the blending of it at the end, but I can't tell. I can't tell. I don't see any difference, but it could be that this isn't set right. I don't remember what this is supposed to be set to. Because you can have them fade in different places where maybe you don't want the macro up close, but only the detail up close. Well, you can do that, but you got to figure out this stuff. It's like a damn jigsaw puzzle of damn numbers, man. Alright, base texture, macro texture. Now, of course, it's going to blend better than that. That's just to show you what it's doing. And we can go one more and have a base texture pop in when you get even closer. We're not doing that, though. This is good enough. But it'll be the same thing as the macro, except when you do that. Oh, yeah, oh, damn. I guess I got to explain that shit, because that ain't going to make sense without explaining it to you, showing you. But before I do that, I'll show you what this does. The macro distances, 1,000, far away. Right? Right. Now, these I always get confused. Which one is the end fade? How far? Okay, so if the end fade is less than the far fade, it's going to have an abrupt cutoff. So I can put that at 450 and it'll correct that a little bit. See? Now the near fade has to do with up close, like how close to 0. You're at 0. How much closer to 0 does it need to be before it fades? So like if you put 20, then when it's 20 foot away from you, it should start to fade out, if I'm thinking of this right. But you also got the near amount, and that I get confused about. Yeah, see, that is right. Near fade. So 30, it would be fading farther away. Yeah, and then you got the near, which I guess that's like the clip for that. So if you wanted one to be more than the other, or have an abrupt cutoff, you would do one less or something. I don't know. I don't usually mess with that. But you could do it that way. You can have it so where it's only up close like this and not out far. But we're going to put this back like I had it, close to like I had it. Now, that don't look good. Now the amount of intensity, you put 0.1. It'll only show you 10% of it affecting. Now once it's beyond the distance, the base texture goes back to what it's supposed to go to once you're beyond that limit. And see, that's what they do. Say we find some grass here. We'll make another texture with the exact same thing. Base map grass. And I'm going to get into blending if you don't do this. Ground model grass. Add material. Until you add, when you make a new material, until you hit add, it will not show up over here, and until it's over here, you cannot add to it here. You'll think, man, it's not saving what I'm doing. Save changes to file first, then you can add to it. So we're going to stick that same picture that we're using for the base map in the grass one. Now I didn't do normal mapping for the base map like I said, but you can do it. It looks better when you do. Let's add this one real quickly. Oh yeah, the tiling. See how much different that looks without a macro map? And you can imagine a detail map makes it look even better. So we'll do the grass for this one. Macro base texture. Come on. Alright, let's find a good grass. Or sand. I think there's grass in the other folder. Yeah. But I need at least one high pass. There we go, macro. So I did uncut grass. I did put one in there for it. Good. Alright, we'll put in the normal macros. Then go down to the ambient occlusion and roughness and height. have to scale that a lot smaller than 60. Probably 8 or maybe even less for grass. Well, something ain't right. Macro distance is pretty close for some reason. I might have it turned down. No, this is a new one. I don't know why it's doing it. Let me double check. Oh, you damn dumbass. Man, what a bonehead, man. I put 8K in there. That ain't gonna work. I got 4K. It's just I picked the wrong one. Actually. Alright, good. Alright. Sorry about that. Yep, we got to have 4K because that's what that calls for. You're like, well, why can't you just change it? Well, you can, but everything else that you already got in here using it too, they'll have to be changed. Or they'll be black. Now, I didn't use that. The old terrain paints didn't have that issue. You could have all different kinds of size, resolutions, and all. But God, them things look terrible. Compared to these. I actually got a height map for that one. I think I made that though. I don't think I had all these and I made these myself. I don't look that good quality. I got that in the wrong spot. Damn, man. There we go. You may wonder, you may wonder like, the amount of darkening around the edges and all that. That's done through the high pass filter. You can change that. You need to load the grass that's, the the one before the high pass filter, and basically rerun a high pass filter on it. But you would change what they call the standard deviation on it, or the contrast. The deviation is how thick the lines are, and the contrast is how much contrast is between each one. You can have too much contrast and it look wrong. It's like doing unsharp mask on something too much, and it has that thickness look around the edges that don't quite look right. But you can see how it's only using the color from here. It's not coming up with its own color because there's none in there. So it's dependent on whatever this one's color is. But the good thing is it doesn't tile like using the macro as a base, what a lot of people do. Alright, so how would you do that? The same way, but instead of putting a base texture, instead of putting the high pass, you would use, well, you wouldn't put it in macro at all. You just put it in the base. So we'll use their grass here, the standard grass, and we'll do it. I got all kinds of textures, so I'm not running short on any of them. All right, grass, base texture. So we'll use that same one. No, we'll use a better one. Use a better one. I don't know, got some betters in here. Maybe I don't. Got the same thing in both folders. Oh, no, these are the ones that actually are for the level. I was hoping I had a different one. Well, I guess we'll have to use this one. I mean, I could go get it. I got them all over the hard drive. I just have to go find it. Oh, man. Do I want to go hunting for that damn grass? Is that important? Or will you get the idea from seeing it, just seeing it with the one that's already in here? We'll just go with the one that's already in here. So the base would go into the base color, but make sure it, like before, make sure that matches whatever your base is set to. You'll want to change the scale too, because you don't want that grass, one square of that being drawn over everything. You have grass the size of a car. Yeah. So I'll leave it just to show you what I mean. Grass, grass, grass. This is a shitty example, because this grass sucks. I know, because I made this one. This was the one I come up with. One of my own personal creations. Yeah, I didn't even know back then how to do. When I made these, I didn't know how to do the base map. So I was using basically the macros as the base maps. Let me get a damn, god damn it. Let me get a good material. I got them in here. Just gotta go get it. That's the folder that we already got in there. That one. That's for mesh. That's for grass mesh. Damn it. Oh, I know where that shit's at. I just don't know what. I just don't know if it's the right resolution. I think it's 2K. Let me see. I know exactly where it's at. Now, oh well. We'll use one of these. Are they 4K? Don't look like it. 2K. Oh well, hell with that. I'm not going to hunt all night for them. But the point is, they look a lot damn. Oh, that one is 4K. Alright, cool. Well, I didn't want to do that. I just want to copy them. Alright, alright. What I. God damn it. So you got a PNG and you got a bitmap. You can't use a bitmap. So this is 1K. I didn't label these worth of shit, did I? They're all wrong. Like a picture of grass. But the normals aren't right. The damn normals are 1024 for some reason. I might have just missed it. It may be in there. Well, I tell you what, it's gonna be one hell of a damn video. can't use DDS for terrain paints. Not in PBR. Only JPEG or PNGs. Still ain't working. Well, it means one of these aren't 1080. One of these aren't direct resolution either. If it's saying that, or if it ain't showing it right. Which I guess is good you see this too, because if it doesn't load for you, then you don't know why. That, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if one of these is not 4K that was supposed to be 4K. There we go. You can see the difference. A little smaller than that. I'll do 12. I said 12. This thing goes through these things where it changes on you. You can put a number and it'll change it back. And it's not doing it now, but it was. It's one of these glitches, I guess. But you can see the difference in how that grass looks and how that grass looks. So you can see why people prefer to use macro for regular texture, which it looks fine for small areas. I mean, if you're doing a small area, like you're drawing something, you know, and you just want a little bit of grass here or there, you know, for whatever thing you're doing, you know, that's fine. You're not going to really notice that's macroed. But what you are going to see is where these things separate, where one ends and one begins, since it's not done the same way. So if you wanted to blend these together, what you'd have to do is make a decal. A decal for blending. What you could do is you could have one blend to the other, or have one blend to a lighter one. Let me show you what I mean. I think I got some in here already. I may have to make one. New material. Blend. You name it whatever. Black decal blend, black to white. That'll work. It's not ideal, but it'll work. Give you an idea anyway what you have to do. I'll switch to PBR. We'll also use that as the opacity, since black is invisible and white stays behind. It'll just be a black gradient going into nothing. And in the additional info, you got to put road and path, or you're not going to be able to pick it as a decal. Now, if you've been away for a long time, you left back when version 2.26 was out or so, then you didn't have to used to do that. But now you do. Now that you got it, you can save it. You can now select it in your inspector window. It will now be in there. Now, if you're going to do transparency, you got to tell it to also be And this goes with any decal. Any decal, you need to put the LERP alpha on, or it's not going to look good. It's going to flicker if you put one in front of the other really badly. Now, that ain't blended worth shit. I realize that. Well, it blends it fine from one to the other, but I didn't do any blending on the end of this. See, this would need to be blended too so it can fade into the other texture. You see what it kind of like a band-aid. It puts them both together. Let me see if I got a better one. That one isn't good. It's not good at all. No, this is for ash. It's not exactly what we want, but it probably worked. What I was saying earlier in the text, or it was in a comment. If you can not go full opacity, because what you can do is you can duplicate it. Control D. However many times you need to duplicate it, it'll get darker each time. It'll give you more flexibility if you need it. Ideally, what you could do is make a texture of both materials, or at least one of them, and then you got to be perfect. Remember, textures run top to bottom, so if you make any, they got to be this way, not side to side. Actually, we do it like this. Don't forget the tile seamless. Oh, yeah, you got the fade at the end too. And the decal, you can have it fade in and out at the ends. So I think that should give you a good idea what I'm talking about. That's more or less what I got to do if I want to blend stuff in here. If you find yourself doing this and you think, God, this is a lot of work to blend the damn texture. Yes, it is. It is so much better if they made it so it wouldn't be like this. and this doesn't have normal mapping applied for, you know, the normals. You can put them on decals. I usually do, but that makes the video even longer. That's not what that is. That is, which one is that? This one. And you got metallic, you got the roughness. Yeah, you can make it blend really well if you just put the time in it. You know, you put all these maps in here, it'll look like the terrain paint, basically. You take the time to do it all. So it's a lot better than that. You can tweak the colors if you need to get it the right shade. So I think that's pretty much it. I can't think of nothing else. I can't think of anything else that really could help any more than I've already said all I pretty much know. If I think of anything else, I'll bring it up in a comment. You know, it would work too over there, since it's got since half of it's opaque. You could flip it around for the other side where the grass is at. Yeah, I know you can see it. Well, you got to adjust all that stuff. If you want the roughness and all that stuff to be perfect, you got to spend the time and mess with all that stuff. Get it just right. And you start asking yourself, how much is it really worth, all this blending? It started to look pretty, it looks pretty good, like how they did theirs. You know, maybe that wouldn't be so bad after all. I know I sure as hell think it. You end up with decals, so many damn decals everywhere, it's like ridiculous. I mean, the video I was working on before doing this one was, well, it was one of these. And you can see that decal for the sand one in here.
hope. How's it?
So you can see one of these. Say, there's nothing there. There it is. So you can see how I used them there also to blend those various ones together. That don't look right. What was I doing there? Ah, yeah, see? And that should have been color corrected too, to match better. But you get the idea. That's how you do it.